Welcome back to Carahcast, the podcast from Carahsoft, the trusted government IT solutions provider. Subscribe to get the latest technology updates in the public sector. I'm Corey Baumgartner, your host from the Carahsoft production team. On behalf of LiveAction, we would like to welcome you to today's podcast, focused on how to ensure adherence and fulfillment of cloud-related obligations outlined in OMB M-21-31 and Zero Trust, while also effectively facilitating network monitoring and analytics for levels 0 to 3 as specified in OMB M-21-31. John Smith, CTO and founder, will discuss LiveAction's solutions to address the new requirements that OMB M-21-31 presents.
So the Memorandum 2131 really clarifies Section 8. It talks about increasing visibility before, during, and after a security incident. And it talks about collecting and analyzing logs on premises, but also in the cloud for detection, investigation, remediation. And it really details out the logging and retention. And we'll go into much more detail on that as well. And it does talk about information sharing. And there's the NIST document that I showed briefly. And I'll talk more about that. That talks more about how to do logging, and this is provided by NIST. So what is the different maturity levels? So I'll just briefly go over the different levels, and we'll dig into EL2 specifically. But EL0 was basically making sure all the critical things are logged to get started with. And EL1 built upon that foundation and talked about more logging, different type of events. But they added things like sharing of information with CISA and FBI, and doing planning like user behavior monitoring. And I'll dig into this user behavior monitoring because the planning should have happened in EL1, but you have to implement in EL3. Not part of EL2, but I think some of the things that you do in EL2 will affect how it's done in EL3, for example. So there's some consequences of how you actually implement each tier. In EL2, I'll go into more detail in the next few slides, but the big one here is the inspection of encrypted traffic, and packet storage for 72 hours comes up in this level. In EL3, I'll talk a little bit more, but it becomes much more advanced in terms of using AI, ML techniques for user behavior monitoring, and also centralized access. This section, I want to talk about how LiveAction solutions can help meet not just level 2, but level 0 through 3 in more detail. And what I did was, it's not just meeting the requirements like I mentioned, it's really actually improving investigative and remediation capabilities. And I took the network-related requirements from EL0 and EL3, and I mapped it to these 3 sections. So packet capture, encrypted traffic, user behavior, and the third one is various flow logs, SNMP, and centralized access. And when we map it to our product, we have 3 products that actually map very well to these 3 sections here. And the 3 products that we have as part of our network intelligence platform is LiveNX, which is our network performance monitoring, LiveWire, which is packet capture and real-time analysis, and ThreatEye, which is network detection and response on encrypted traffic using ML/AI. And it covers the logs on the bottom here from NetFlow, flow log, SNMP, packets. But we also leverage APIs to get log information and status information that's mentioned in the Appendix C as well. A key aspect of this is the network landscape that you need to get this log from. So we cover cloud, data center, campus branch, but also SD-WAN and SDN. So SD-WAN vendors, we can integrate and get telemetry from their fabric. We have deep integrations with specific ones, and we can understand how they're implementing their security policies, for example. Also Colo and Edge. And just back on the SDN, there's a lot of VXLAN micro and macro segmentation that's happening. So you want to leverage products that can actually look inside these segmentation as well. LiveWire, which is packet capture and real-time analysis. So this helps meet the packet capture, and there's also web app PCAP requirement from level 1. And really looks at packets. You can grab it from cloud, data center, campus branch, colo, It has a wide variety of capabilities, but also different footprints as well. So we have ones that can be virtual in your VM infrastructure, also cloud, so AWS, Azure, GCP. But we also have physical appliances that you can put into your small office or branch. And we have larger ones for data center. And you can stack these to 20, 40, 100 gig if you need. So they're very modular in use, but their size is also very small. So these are T2Us for the most powerful ones. And the storage capacity, 6496, 128 terabytes. If you need petabytes, come talk to us, and we have solutions that'll be coming out for that as well. And what LiveWire does is deep packet inspection constantly for the wire data and the packets that it's seeing. And it'll do forensic packet analysis as well, and it'll export IP fix to our LiveNX platform. So if you need metadata from the packets, we can provide that as well. And we have workflows from high-level views down to packets. So a lot of issues are you have a fleet of packet analytics, but you need to find one related to an incident. So the way that LiveWire integrates to LiveNX, with a generated alert or metadata, we can track down and go down to that specific LiveWire, down to that specific packet, and helps reduce mean time to repair, but also mean time to incident response resolution as well. High-level summary of the event logging levels. And I kind of highlighted in red the ones that are related to network analytics and visibility. So level 0 is like, you're really kind of starting out, you're logging the most critical things in acceptable formats, as they say. And EL1, starts getting into, more interesting logging categories, also things related to, having access by the CISA and FBI, like I mentioned. So this will keep coming up at each level. And then logging, interesting things like, DNS. Also, how do you protect and validate the log information? Orchestrating this. And then a really kind of a difficult task is user behavioral monitoring. You're supposed to start planning for this, and you're supposed to implement it at EL3. So this is somewhat hard, but we do have products that'll help you there as well. And that EL2, yeah.
On EL1, one thing I'd point out with the CISA guidance that just came out, they strongly emphasized DNS as something that really needs to be monitored, and also DHCP. I imagine that has something to do with binding identity to activities. Just want to point that out. Save you some reading.
And the good point about DNS, and remember the zero trust says encrypt DNS, right? The previous memorandum we talked about. So you can't use the existing, hey, we can actually see all the DNS messages in the clear. It's going to be encrypted. So got to plan for that. This is our joint solution. On the left-hand side is the environment that we've been talking about. So whether it's cloud, and you got multi-cloud, right? It's not just a single one. And then you have on-premises. So most companies are doing hybrid cloud where they have multiple cloud providers doing certain specific things, even Google. I see a lot of our customers using GCP for specific ML AI because they're very good at that. And then combine it with AWS for their app developers and DevOps and SREs work primarily there. Then they connect back to the data center. And they might have multiple data centers. And with edge computing, they might have a regional data center, for example. And it's very difficult to instrument all this. So that's very, very critical in getting all the different types of telemetry. And the Gigamon solution does a great job of doing that. And that feeds our solution, LiveAction, using packets, obviously, but also NetFlow. And Matt will talk more in detail about AMI, which is a very good metadata source for advanced metric information. And then I'll talk in more detail once we get this quote unquote log, but it's really multi-telemetry. What can LiveAction do from a packet perspective, flow perspective, and metadata, security metadata perspective to give you the solution to the 2131 issues.
Of course, evolved from a traditional next generation packet broker, right? Where we're taking packets from the left side of this diagram between network devices using network taps from span sessions and VACLs. And of course, now we've evolved into bringing that in from different types of cloud environments and all the different types of virtual environments like VMware, for example. So we're sending, of course, packets over to LiveWire after they've been transformed, deduplicated, focused, so that LiveWire can get a good, clean signal that's not too full of unnecessary packets. But we're also engaging in deep packet inspection to look into the network traffic and then generate very lightweight metadata, all the good stuff that folks are trying to pick out of network packets anyway. So that could be over 3,000 different applications and over 5,000 unique metadata elements, right? This is what generates the net flow. This is what pulls out.
So LiveAction Network Intelligence Platform, once we get all that packet flow AMI information, we can send that to our 3 products. The 3 products we have are LiveWire, so packet capture and real-time analysis. And this is on the right side, the requirements that we satisfy from M-21-31. So the 72 hours, the web PCAP. The middle product, the ThreatEye, is network detection and response. And so it can do actually encrypted traffic analysis. So you don't necessarily have to decrypt the traffic, but we'll use ML AI techniques to understand, if this is a compromise or an attack. And we also do user behavior modeling. So, does this person act like they were previously? Does this server act like what it did previously as well? Maybe it's compromised. Is it talking to too many people like it wasn't before? So it can do a lot using a SaaS-based machine learning AI platform to analyze the data there. And lastly, LiveNX is a centralized platform for flow log, cloud flow log, centralized access, and SNMP data. Memorandum 2131, it clarifies the executive order, and it's really about increasing visibility before, during, and after an incident. And it talks a lot about logs. So whether it's on premises and cloud, and their term log actually is somewhat broad, like packets, net flow, flow log, SNMP, they're all considered part of logging. So it's not just syslog, the traditional syslog that you might think about. It also talks in very good detail about how long to retain these logs, what to log, and also the management of it. And they also emphasize being able to share this, not just within your organization, but with CISA and other agencies that might get involved in incidents. And they gave a pretty aggressive timeline. And at the bottom, I show the different tier levels. So section 1 of 2131 lays out all the different tiers at a high level. And there's a appendix, which I'll show, that goes into details of each of the different logging categories. So like I mentioned, EL0 is critical level 0, and there's quite a bit of it as well. But then you get to the basic level, EL1. So there's more things related to protecting and validating log information. Like I mentioned, CISA and FBI requirements. So when you have an incident, they want to be able to access that as well. I think Vivian has the results. You can let us know what that is. Okay, very good. So half of us are at EL0 and half is just starting the journey. So perfect. You're at the right webinar. That's good to know. So I'll focus on getting to EL1 and EL2 because I think those are the ones that are going to be most challenging. And EL1, there's a requirement for user behavioral monitoring, planning. It's not executing, but planning. So I think this is one of the things that you got to watch out for because when you get to EL3, there's this user behavior monitoring implementation. So they're giving you some opportunities to start planning, but then actually implementing in AL3. And it's not a trivial task. So, having time to put in the right set of logs to get to EL3, I think is important at level 1 and level 2. EL2, I think, is where it starts to get much harder. And this is where you have the full packet capture, 72 hours of packet capture, but also the inspection of encrypted data. And why they want you to do that is they want to retain and store metadata information so they can do more real-time analytics on this. This is really helpful for the packet capture, 72 hours, but you could do a lot more with that. But also do real-time packet analytics, be able to send the metadata, web app PCAP as well. The second piece is the ThreatEye. So when we talk about encrypted traffic analysis without decrypting using machine learning, this is the solution that will provide that capability. And LiveNX is the central access to getting the flow log, the metadata from the LiveWire, cloud flow log, SNMP, and it knows how to talk to all the different parts of your network. So let's dig into LiveWire, which is the packet analytics piece. So it does deep packet inspection, constant capture from wire, but it also do real-time packet analysis. And it'll send that metadata to LiveNX. And you'll have workflows that you can do from a high level, but being able to drill down to that very specific packets. It also has an intelligent packet capture option, which I'll talk in more detail. You can do just packet capture if you want, or you could buy it as part of a solution of a platform. And it can also do large-scale management, like I mentioned earlier. If you have a fleet of these, think about how you're going to do backup, restore, upgrades, configuration management. So you want something that has that capability, whether you have a dozen or 100 of these. And also do metadata extraction for encrypted traffic analysis. And it comes in a wide variety of form factors. So LiveWire Virtual, you can run. You have instances that you can run in all the different cloud service providers, or even on your VM infrastructure as well. And we have an edge, a core, and a power core. So if you have a big data center, you have 40 gig, 100 gig circuits, you can put the power core. And a lot of our large enterprise customers will have a packet broker. So we have a great relationship with Gigamon, for example. And they have AMI, which is a metadata that provides more detail from their packets. And we can absorb that into our LiveNX as well.
Thanks for listening, and thank you to our guest, John Smith. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Carahcast, and be sure to listen to our other discussions. If you'd like more information on how LiveAction can assist your organization, please visit www.carahsoft.com or email us at liveaction@carahsoft.com. Thanks again for listening, and have a great day.